Wrist. Nice to meet you.
We will work on that.
Just like to be more consistent with the irons. Straighten out. Maybe get a little distance.
Okay. See, it's a...
So this is my first lesson with Rick. We discussed what he's looking to get out of these lessons and what areas of the game he would like to improve. He's really looking to gain consistency with all of his irons. He's looking to gain some distance off the tee, as well as improve his ability to hit off the turf with his long irons and his woods. So we're going to go through this 5-lesson series and work on kind of each area of the game. In between the lessons, we're going to go out and play. We have scheduled to play 18 holes after our second lesson, and we're planning on playing 18 as well after the 5th lesson. So we're going to see what we can improve here.
Flat-footed, right? Get your belt buckle on your chest towards the target when you finish, but feel like it's moving towards the target as you're coming to the ball. Right? So keep that rotation going. Then finish with your back heel pointed up to the sky. Belt buckle pointed towards the target.
So at this point, we were working on transferring his body weight through the ball. He's losing a lot of power because he's keeping it all on his back foot. So I'm just working on getting his body moving towards the ball by telling him to get his belt buckle moving towards the target throughout the swing, and then finishing with that and his chest toward the target, and also getting his back heel pointed towards the sky as he finishes.
Square it up. I don't want this toe. Like that wrist. That's too close, right? That is where I want to get at that spot. Okay. So that is fully square, but I want it slightly shut at this point.
So I also noticed Rick has a tendency to close the club face at address. It's not much, and it's not initially when he addresses the ball, but right before he's about to take his club away, he does have a tendency to shut that face about 3 to 5 degrees. And he's compensating for that by opening up his wrist right as he's taking away. So he's losing a lot of power doing that. So we were working on just keeping that hand very subtle at the takeaway to make sure that club face is square, and also keeping his arms a little more stiff, not breaking his wrist as he's taking it away. Really working on getting that hand almost face down towards the ground, that left hand face down towards the ground as he's taking the ball away. And then when we get to that 3 o'clock position, I really wanted him to see where that club face should be.
Still better ball flight.
Top.
Better ball flight.
Yeah. Yeah. Flip the deep. Flip the deep one.
Still holding some weight on that back foot though. Like here. All the way up. Transfer all the weight out this side. Alright, welcome back, Rick. So, in the last lesson we worked on getting through the ball, so getting a belt buckle, the chest, moving towards the target and finishing at the target with our wheel at the sky as we finish our swing up there, as well as getting our club face more lined up at the start, and then as we take away, not opening up that wrist as much as we do towards the ground. And so we're going to continue working on that today with more long irons, hybrids, woods, stuff like that.
Sounds good.
Alright.
Alright, this is the 5 iron. And when I miss, it almost seems like it goes as far as the 7 iron, but just a fade, like just a soft fade versus smooth.
So the first lesson we were working on mid irons. We had him hitting a 7 iron as well as a 9 iron. This lesson we're going to focus on long irons as well as his hybrid. So right now we have a 5 iron, and we're continuing to work on squaring up that club face at address, increasing our arc length on our takeaway, and we're really looking to gain consistency with these long irons. He really struggles to hit him. He has a tendency to hit him thin, so we're going to see what we can do here.
Might be one of the best 5 irons I've hit. And the takeaway seems to be helping.
7 iron, you want to put it down on the green, which would obviously become a really down. 5 iron, you feel more of a scrape that goes to the ground. So I feel like you're more so scraping. When you're hitting down on the wood, you feel like you're scraping the wood.
The irons get longer.
Here. Okay. Compared to your target line, that's where it is.
So in this second lesson, we were working on our long irons as well as our hybrid. Rick had a tendency to hit down with these clubs. I was explaining to him how as we progress through the set, we want to slowly start hitting more and more up on the ball. So with our wedges, for instance, we play that back in our stance. We really want to come down on that to increase spin, to have more control around the greens. But as we progress through, we want to hit more and more up. So to do that, I was just moving the ball slightly more up in his stance and trying to get him to feel like he was coming up on the ball.
That's the close.
Just turn that club face in. That little bit's 5 degrees. Let the club rest. That is
That's not square.
if you just let it sit in your hands, that's square.
Yeah, that's another square.
Which in turn is tougher to takes that sit down. Allows you to
Probably my mind. I don't know. So, low. That's square.
So Rick was struggling again with his club face being slightly closed at address. So I just reminded him here how important it is to have that club face square. The only way he could get the ball up in there with that club face closed was to hit down on the ball. And that was losing him a lot of distance. So getting that club face square was crucial for this part of the lesson. So right there, I was just getting his hands in a slightly better position at address to avoid that club face closing as he's taking it away. Rick really hits a stride here towards the end of this lesson and really was hitting these clubs extremely well. You'll see it here. But following this lesson, we actually went out, played 18 holes. A few days later, he got one practice session in prior to playing, and he played extremely well with his mid irons and long irons. However, he did struggle off the tee, and especially with his 3-wood. Even off the tee, he was struggling with that, but even more so off the turf. Overall, he played pretty well. He shot 79, which is a pretty good score for him, but there's definitely room for improvement, and this is going to take us into our third lesson here. Here we're working on Rick's 3-wood, which is the thing he struggled with the most, especially off the turf. As we go through this lesson, you'll see it's a lot of the same mistakes, that club face slightly being closed as he's taking it away, and just not quite hitting up on the ball. So you'll see here how we fix that.
I misses that high fade cut.
Just try and scrape the ground more, opposed to hitting down, making a divot. So practice just scraping it with little half swings.
Ball position good?
Yep.
So what I was talking about with Rick there was scraping the turf opposed to hitting down on the turf. In the last lesson, I kind of discussed with Rick how we need to hit up on the ball as we progress through the set, and this stays the same with the 3-wood, but maybe even more so off the turf with this club. So I wanted him to feel like he was scraping the turf, right? Not digging into the earth. That's just going to help him hit up on the ball. Try and give it to him in a different way, explain it in a way that would make him not think about hitting up on the ball, but would naturally just allow him to do so.
Yeah, it's not getting as much of that tail, which is good. So my mistake is the same as
Yep.
setting the wrist too soon and hitting down versus up.
Yep. So just keep feeling like you're coming up on it. Feel like your left shoulder staying higher than the right as you are coming through the ball. Left one down, and then feel like you're coming up with that left shoulder. And it helps you hit up on it.
So right there, I'm just trying to get Rick to feel like his left shoulder is getting above his right as he's moving towards impact. This is just another way of getting him to hit up on the ball, but I'm giving him an external cue on his body to focus on rather than the task itself. As this lesson progressed, you can see right there he isn't taking much grass anymore. He's hitting up on it, much better contact. But he really was hitting that well towards the end of this lesson. It's going to take us into our fourth lesson here, which was driver. He struggled with this about a week ago when we went and played, but we're going to work on this today and try and get him some more distance, which is one of his goals out of this 5-lesson series. So we're really going to work on getting him through the ball, getting his body through it, and transferring that weight from his right side to his lead side, and in turn hitting up on the ball as well. So let's see how he can do here.
Your ball position change though, so up a little bit. Right? Okay. Now drop the club. I feel like you're bringing it more shallow and long on the takeaway. And then especially coming through, I feel like you're shallowing out a little lower so you can hit up on it.
That inside like that?
Yep. Not too inside. Just feel like you're dragging it a little longer.
Ball position good?
Yep.
Hands lower, higher, like is that?
So a little bit ago, I explained to Rick how I want him to drag the club back further on his takeaway. So I wanted to increase his arc length of the swing, which would get him a better turn with his hips, generate more speed and power through the ball. But also, I wanted him to feel like he was shallowing out a little earlier as he was coming down towards impact. And this would allow him to hit up on the ball once again.
Wider stance. Your tempo is slow coming back, so maintain your same tempo, but keep your arms straighter a little longer, keep it more shallow.
So Rick really was thinking a little too much about that takeaway, which is natural. It didn't feel right to him. And it really messed with his tempo. He was really focusing on that and going really slow with his takeaway. So I wanted him to, not think about it as much and just take a natural swing, but feel like he's dragging it away with that same tempo that he's really good with.
The first one I hit was the best one. Same plane, or am I dropping them?
Yeah, you're just
So prior to this swing here, I had Rick try and lower his right shoulder and in turn raise his left shoulder slightly as he's addressing the ball, just so he can feel what that's like and what he's supposed to feel as he's coming through impact, getting that left shoulder above his right and in turn hitting up on the ball. And he did a really nice job of this towards the end of this lesson. He was really striping it. This is going to take us into our fifth lesson here. When we played a little over a week ago, Rick was struggling with his putter. He's normally a pretty solid putter. He's an excellent chipper, however, around the greens with his wedges. But he did struggle that day. He is a streaky putter. So that's something he wanted to work on. So that's what we're going to do here for this fifth lesson. And one thing I noticed in his putting stroke during our round was that he has the same tendency that he does with his full swing, and that's slightly shutting the face before he takes it away, leaving him, to miss putts on the left side usually. So this drill I set up here for him is two tees side by side next to each other. They're aligned to the hole with the break, and it gives you enough room to get the putter through, but if you move it to the right or the left, you do hit the tee. So that's part of the drill here is squaring up his path, because he did fix that closed club face by adjusting with his path. So we were working on this here. He did a pretty nice job with it. He was rolling putts better. And after this lesson, we went out and played a couple days later. The same course we had played about 2 weeks prior. He played much better. He was hitting every single club in his bag better than he had prior to our lesson series. His driver was being struck very well. He probably gained about 15 yards off the tee throughout the 2.5 weeks, which was huge for him. He was stoked. He's hitting his irons a lot more consistently, much better trajectory, and he was hitting his woods off the turf better than he had ever had in his life. Putter was solid, and his chipping is always excellent. We didn't work on that part of the game, other than a few times on the course, just discussing different options he had. But overall, this lesson series was excellent. He made huge improvements throughout every area of his game, and he was stoked on the game improvements. So it was great for Rick, and it was a lot of fun for me as well.